Good evening, and welcome to Wednesday Night Live's Spirit, Mind, and Body Connection. I am Dr. Sharron Stroud. I am the founder of Interfaith Spiritual Center Worldwide, where we believe there's a power for good in the universe greater than we are, and we can use it. And we are using it every single day of our lives, whether we are consciously aware of it or not. This is why I love our way of life, is that we have the power of choice. Choose thee this day who you will serve. We can serve the ego needs, look to the outer, feel the emptiness, the powerlessness, the hopelessness, or we can look to the higher vibrational frequency, which I choose to call God. It doesn't matter what you call your higher power, but to acknowledge that which is within us is greater than that which resides in the world of conditions, appearances, and effects. So this whole month of November is dedicated to the gentle art of blessing. And at Interfaith Spiritual Center Worldwide, we have initiated the global campaign for blessing. That is that everything that comes into our lives, whether it looks like a blessing or not, that we have the power within us, that alchemical power within us to transform the routines of work into celebrations of life and love. This is what we are empowered to do. Tonight, we have a date with destiny. If you tuned in at this moment, this message is for you. And that to really acknowledge that nothing happens by chance. That's right. Nothing happens by chance. That everything in our life is a divine appointment, whether we are consciously aware of it or not. So let's get conscious tonight. Let's acknowledge our topic for tonight is blessings in disguise. This is such a great topic, isn't it? And the opportunity that we have to look through the appearances that show up in our lives that look very, very real. However, these are facts, not spiritual realities. So I want to just acknowledge that our Rhonda is here from Florida. And good evening to you, dear. And our Reverend Prince Fleet Easton is tuned in tonight. I can see that you're here with us, dear, and it's wonderful to have you with us. This is his 1-year anniversary of being ordained on November 22nd. And Fleet takes his ordination vows very seriously. It is a beneficial presence on the planet. So wonderful to have you with us. And it's interesting because on the Sharron Stroud page, which I used to see all of the comments, when I went with StreamYard, I don't see those comments. I see the interfaith page, and that seems to be it. So just know that I love you, that if you want to come over to the interfaith page, you can, but I want you to know that I do answer every comment, every prayer request. We love to know where you're from. I want to welcome Marlene. Good evening to you as well. And that prayer is the most powerful energy in the universe. So if you have a prayer request, feel free to post it. And I love to know where you're from and the opportunity that we have tonight to really acknowledge our ground of being and in this way of life. And this is a way of life. That's right. It's a way of life. So tonight, little Miss Minnie and I, she says hi to everybody. Fleet said that she's quite the celebrity on our Sunday celebrations. You can tune in every Sunday through StreamYard, through YouTube. And our Sunday presentations they're televised and we broadcast through StreamYard. So tonight I will set the tone. You know that we set the tone with the Tibetan bells, and I share with you a chant from the Gandhi Foundation. And this is a very, very powerful chant of oneness. And in fact, last week was the International Oneness Summit. And Humanity's team sponsored some beautiful, beautiful speakers that spoke on these topics. And as you know, that I was voted in as the president of the International Foundation for World Peace and Research back in 2015. And we did a lot of really good work. And for all of us that are in the healing arts, that are in ministries, that are coming up in this world to make a difference, I want to really acknowledge you tonight and your efforts, because those healing, helping hands as the ancient bodhisattva said, those healing, helping hands are lifting humanity as a whole. And every loving thought that we send out is lifting humanity as a whole. That remember that life is energy, that energy is neither destroyed nor created. It merely changes form. So tonight, as I share with you the chant from the Gandhi Foundation, I invite you just to repeat after me audibly if you feel comfortable doing that. If not, you can just say it to yourself silently. And yes, Wayne, we welcome you as well, all the way from Calgary. I love Calgary. I've spoken there many times for the International New Thought Alliance. So we welcome you as well. So these are the little Tibetan bells, and they resonate to the heart chakra. And remember, a chakra in the ancient Sanskrit is a wheel of spinning energy in a clockwise fashion. That we have 7 major chakras within this body temple, and this body is the temple of the living God. Whatever you conceive your God to be, whatever name you put on your higher power, that which is within you is greater than that which resides in the world of conditions, appearances, and effects. So I offer you peace. I offer you friendship. I offer you love. I see your beauty. I hear your needs. I feel your feelings. My wisdom flows from a higher source. I salute that source in you. Come, let us work together. Come, let us work together. Come, let us work together. Right now, somewhere in the world, a Jew is saying her prayers, a Hindu is chanting a mantra, and a Buddhist is kneeling at her sacred shrine. Right now, at this very moment, someone is lighting a candle in a cathedral. Someone is making their Hajj toward Mecca, for it is the will of Allah. And yet someone else is lighting a fire in a jungle, repeating an ancient mystical drama. Many, many pathways up the mountaintop, and the view is always the same from the summit. In the dawning of the spiritual sun, for a moment all faiths became as one. The Christian, Buddhist, Muslim, Jew became as one and somehow knew that mystic voice that calls to me, oh, yonder, yonder person, I am thee. We are one. This oneness moves beyond color, race, creed, and sexual orientation. And I have added political affiliation. The blood that courses through my veins is the same color of the blood that courses through your veins. We are one. And in this oneness do we live and move and have our being. In this oneness do we unite at the heart chakra, the heart center. For where our treasure is, there our heart will be also. And so it is. So the international global campaign for blessing, we're putting that into effect tonight. And we're acknowledging that we have that within us that is greater than that which resides in the world. And that when we truly let go and let God do what God does best by means of us, because remember that we are channeling this energy. We are channeling this Christ consciousness. As our humanness gives way to the divine, the Christ consciousness arises triumphant and victorious. That compassionate heart of Buddha that flows out into the world and touches all those within our energy field, and they too are healed and uplifted in our presence. The holy I am presence that salutes that I am presence within you. We unite as one. And to look at our blessings in disguise, that when some calamitous thing that we feel from that mental area. And believe me, we've all been in those situations. And I have always said that whenever I have felt the rug pulled out from under me, I have always landed on higher ground, that we have that within us, that energy within us. There is a divine plan. We have a date with destiny. We chose to be here on the planet for such a time as this. That's right, for such a time as this. And I was watching an interview, and it was about a young woman who left her house, and she, bid all of her family goodbye, I'll see you later. And she was on her way to pick a college friend up. And as she entered the freeway, there was a collision. There were several cars involved, and her car was totaled, and she was taken to the hospital. And her mother said that so many bones were broken, and the spleen was affected, and the ribs were broken, and that a puncture in her lungs, and 3 brain hemorrhages. And so the doctor came to them and said, this is not a good prognosis. I feel that your daughter is going to, we say, make her transition, but the doctor said die. Because again, energy is neither destroyed nor created, it merely changes form. So they were at the hospital 24/7. She was in a coma for 6 months, and they were talking to her. And the mother would say, "Daddy's here, Daddy's here." And they would just talk to her. And the father said that he went home very, very depressed. And, this was his precious daughter, and that she had no quality of life. And that, dear God and the angels, if you take her, I understand. And he said he was in front of the television set, and he was kind of falling asleep. And then he woke up in sort of that twilight zone. And they lived in Pennsylvania. And this face came up, and it was Padre Pio and the Padre Pio monastery, where amazing healings took place. And if you know about the background of Padre Pio, he was actually from the 20th century, that he woke up one day and he carried the stigmata. And the stigmata is where the nails went into the hands of Jesus, into his feet, and on the side of his rib. And he carried this stigmata, and he would wear gloves. And many scientists went in, and doctors, and they said that it was supernatural. And I found that absolutely fascinating, because the scrutiny of the scientific community is, if it's not empirical, then it doesn't exist. But he had this stigmata that was not self-inflicted, that showed up through his identification with Jesus, who became the Christ, as his humanness gave way to the divine. So the father sees this monastery, and it wasn't exactly, it was just sort of featuring the monastery and all the amazing healings that took place with Padre Pio. So the father the next day wrote to the monastery and to the vice president of the Padre Pio monastery, and said, "Please pray for my daughter. She's been in a coma for 6 months." And then he decided that he was going to take a pilgrimage, which was only about an hour away from where they lived. It was in Barstow, Pennsylvania. And he met with the vice president of the monastery. And she said, "We actually have, a glove of Padre Pio, and it's in a frame, if you would like to see it." So she brought the frame of Padre Pio's glove, which covered the stigmata on his left hand. And he took a t-shirt that he brought that was his daughter's, and he placed it on the frame. And he just said, praying to the saint, Padre Pio, please, please heal my daughter. And then he just held it. And as he held the T-shirt on this artifact, the glove of Padre Pio, he said he felt like a weight was lifted from his heart. And he went back to the hospital, and it was his daughter's 19th birthday. And they brought her home. And of course, even though her eyes were open, there was no signs of life and energy and animation. It was just like totally blank. However, before they brought her home, they put the T-shirt on her and said a prayer. And then she was looking at the balloons in the room, and she pointed to the one that said, "I love you." And they were like so amazed that these mylar balloons, "I love you." And then when they took her home, she began to show signs of life and that she understood. And what happened, of course, is that she was healed. And when she was healed, her family took her to the Padre Pio monastery. And she lit a candle. And she gave thanks for her amazing life and the beauty of her life. And now she's 19 years old. And to have that depth and that energy. And she tells the interviewer, this was a blessing in disguise. I value life so deeply. And to have, all of the circumstances of her father in front of the TV falling asleep, and suddenly there's this amazing opportunity to put the works with the faith. Now, in metaphysics, we know it's done unto us as we believe in our hearts. For where our treasure is, there our heart will be also. So when we are looking at our daily life as our temple and our religion, and acknowledging the things that come in, that truly they're either blessings or blessings in disguise, and that we have the opportunity to transform this, to use conscious languaging and not be at the effect of life. When we are at the effect of life, we're in that victim mentality. We're the martyrs. And this energy is a very low vibratory frequency and creates a lot of regret, which is one of the lowest emotional quotients on that whole spectrum. So tonight, when we acknowledge the blessings in disguise and the opportunity we have to transform the routines of work into celebrations of life and love, and that to open to the energy that allows us to be all that we can be. We're not always going to have high energy, are we? And what is so fascinating about being in the world, when we take responsibility that we chose to be here, we chose to live, to love, to laugh, to express, and to weep if we need to do that. So what are our tears? Tears are cleansing, a purification process within our own heart and soul. So tonight, let's look at our blessings. This morning, we got up and we took our first conscious breath. We didn't put our foot down wondering if gravity was going to be there for us. We absolutely knew that it was. To have that absolute knowingness in our life when things come in. And Dr. Ernest Holmes, the founder of religious science, the laws of science, the opinions of philosophy, the revelations of religion applied to human need and the aspirations of every living soul. That is what religious science is. These are now called Centers for Spiritual Living because many people felt that we were being confused with Scientology. So science of mind is not Scientology. Religious science is not Scientology. The laws of science, the opinions of philosophy, the revelations of religion applied to human need and the aspirations of every living soul. So when Dr. Holmes stated that we must maintain a positive, aggressive, consistent mental attitude in the truth. Now, positive, aggressive, and consistent mental attitude in the truth, so that when these things come at us in life, when we bring them in, that's part of our own mastery, to look a discordant fact in the face and deny its spiritual reality. Is it a fact? Yes, it's a fact. It's happened. We don't deny that, but we do deny that it's a spiritual reality, because with God, all things are possible, but with man, they are impossible. And the moment we think that we have to be out there pushing the river is the moment we give our power away to the outer. And that outer is always with us. Blessed are they who have eyes that see, who have ears that hear. Be still and know that I am God, and that we are co-creators with this infinite intelligence. Jesus said, the works that I do, ye shall do also, and even greater works ye shall do than I do. He did not set himself up as the great exception. Oh, worship me. No, he was the great example. The works that I do, ye shall do also, and even greater works ye shall do than I do. Lord Buddha said, man, woman is the result of all that they have thought. So where thought goes, energy flows. And when the Bible states that we receive our blessings, pressed down, shaken together, and flowing over into every area of our life, know ye not that I will not pour you out a blessing? But we have to rid our consciousness, release our consciousness of that which no longer serves us and being the problem. Remember that life is not a problem to be solved. It's a mystery to be lived. It's a mystery to be lived. So tonight, as we look at our blessings in disguise and the opportunity that we have to take a deeper look. Someone was telling me, I was born in Oklahoma. My parents moved out here when I was 3 months old. And I still have relatives that are in Oklahoma. And someone was saying that where she lived out in the country, a lot of people would just drop off their pets if they didn't want them anymore. She already had 5 dogs, that she saved. And that the sheriff's department would come out, and if there were stray dogs, they would start shooting them. Unbelievable. And she said that one, this beautiful yellow lab, was released out into the country. She said, I don't know what these people think, that maybe a farmer's going to adopt them, or, they have to forage for food. They'll starve to death. So she was taking them in, and she was caring for them, and she was also finding homes for them. And this yellow lab came, and the sheriff shot at the lab, and the lab ran right to her door. So she opened her door and let the lab in. And then the sheriff asked if, she'd seen the dog. Well, she let the dog out the back door, and then, the dog ran. And after the sheriff left, he had just grazed a little bit on the neck. She fed the dog. She acknowledged that the dog was traumatized, because the dog really wanted to be with people and was a loving, loving animal. And so she was calling to find homes, a home for this beautiful, she already had 5 dogs. And she said that her little girl, she was 2 years old, and she brought her out. She said, I was going to go to the mail, and we went out on the lawn, and there were flowers, and she loved smelling all the flowers, and she would smell the flowers, and she would giggle, and smell the flowers, and she would giggle. And so she went to the mailbox, and this, she named the dog Sweetie, because the dog was so sweet. And she said, I was at the mailbox, and I heard like this high-pitched rattle, and realized with just 1 foot away was this rattlesnake and my baby. And what happened next? I mean, out of her kindness of taking this sweet, sweet animal in, the animal went right for the snake, in between this little precious 2-year-old and the rattlesnake. And the rattlesnake lunged out and bit Sweetie on the leg. And when she took her to the vet said that dogs do not react as a human would. that, she treated it. Sweetie was fine. And then she called the newspapers to share about this beautiful, beautiful yellow lab that came onto her property. She fed the dog and was looking for a home for the dog. And the dog was her hero. And of course, in the newspapers, this is like news, right? They talked about that doggone hero, the beautiful yellow lab. And of course, many, many people wanted to adopt Sweetie. And she became like a local hero in the town. And she said, my blessing in all of this is, yes, I had 5 dogs, but I could not see this precious animal just sent out, to be either killed by the authorities or trying to forage for food and starving. And I had, a real concern. So out of her kindness of extending her love, what happened was that her child was saved. And the energy in which she gave out, the universe gave back to her. And energetically, we know that we're never going to outgive God, ever. And that we have the opportunity to go to the next level. We have the opportunity to truly embrace life at the highest level. And that when we're going through challenges and we're going through the human condition, that there is another side to this, that we're deepening the quality of our own life so that we may serve others at a much higher level, at a much deeper level. Because when deep speaks to deep, deep answers unto deep. And the energy, expands in miraculous, miraculous ways. So tonight I invite you to really look at your blessings. And of course, we'd all prefer blessings not in disguise, right? But when they do come, then it alerts our consciousness that there is a learning in this. And I love what Thoreau said. He said, failure has a learning failure has a scientific value. A good learner wouldn't miss it. Failure has a scientific quality. A good learner wouldn't miss it. So what may look like failure on the other side of that is what? Triumph. That we have triumphed over the human condition. Be of good cheer. I have overcome the world of conditions, appearances, and effects. Be of good cheer. And so tonight, that we complete every Wednesday night live spirit, mind, and body connection with a spiritual treatment. So if you do have a prayer request, I invite you to post it. I have a little prayer book that I put these in, and absolutely know the truth with you and for you, that which absolutely needs to be healed is. So let's just gather together tonight and acknowledge that there is one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. And that life is our life right here and right now. It is nearer than our breathing. It is closer than hands and feet. It is the life of our life. It is the essence of our being. All that we are is this God-created stuff. God in us, God as us. God is the only truth of us. And let us align tonight that which needs to be healed is healed. That which needs to be revealed is revealed. That which needs to be known is known. And that which needs to be released is released quickly, gently, and with grace. And if there's anyone viewing here tonight that possibly cried themselves to sleep last night, know the love of God surrounds you. The light of God enfolds you. The power of God protects you, and the presence of God watches over you, that wherever you are, God is. This is the truth for you and with you. You are not alone. You are enfolded in the everlasting arms of God's love. Thank you, Father, Mother, God, for this way of life and the opportunity to release that which no longer serves us, knowing that all cause, effect, record, and memory is returned to its native nothingness from whence it came, because in truth, it is neither person, place, nor thing, only the life and the energy that has been given unto it. And now, as I let go and let God, I know absolutely and totally that this word returns in full-blown expression of that which I have sent forth on this glorious, glorious night. And so it is. Amen. And I say to you, Namaste. The God in me salutes the God in you. And I absolutely know the God in you salutes the God in me. And if I am in that place in me and you are in that place in you, there truly is only one of us. And I say shalom, the peace that passes all understanding, with such gratitude and much knowingness, and thanking each and every one of you that have been sending in your tithes, your love offerings, and your financial gifts to Interfaith. Our doors are open because of you and your generosity and the opportunity to know that this universal message of love and oneness moves out into the universe. And as it moves out into the universe, it does uplift and heal everyone that comes within our energy field that is at all receptive to this message. So I say, God bless us, everyone. That Miss Minnie and I, we will be back next week. Know that I am grateful for you, that I love you, and that I know who you are. And that does make all the difference. And so it is. So I say good night and see you next week.